Hey guys, today we're here to talk about what I think RWBY gets right. Now we can all probably guess why I made this video. There are tons of videos that are pretty much the opposite of this out there, which simply are created to cause controversy and express the viewer's displeasure and apparently to try to get other people to agree with them. And I don't like those videos. But I'm not going to go and yell at the creator of the video. Instead, I'm going to drown it out with positivity by saying what RWBY gets right. And I honestly have some pretty good ability to back it up because RWBY is going on to its 9th volume. That means 9 years of making this show, meaning they must be doing something right. They keep making more of them. So clearly, the answer isn't that the show is terrible and it's bad and it's horrible, because if it was, it wouldn't stay around. But some people don't like it. We're not going to talk about them right now, but we're going to talk about the show. And first, I need to quickly state this is my opinion, that the things that I selected here today to talk about are only my opinion about what I like. And you might note the part 1 of this, I plan to do more of them. So this is not the only one we're going to have. But for today, I selected 3 points that I want to talk about what I think RWBY gets right. And this is just more me talking about how much I love the show than anything else. So I hope you enjoy this. And without any further ado, we will get on to our first one. So our first one is plot twists / callbacks. And the thing we need to understand here is a good plot twist doesn't need to, surprise everyone. It doesn't need to get everyone to go, I could never have seen that coming, which I think sometimes people do. It's actually a bad plot twist if the audience could never have guessed what was going to happen. A good plot twist makes it so that about 10% of people will get it right and 90% of people will get it wrong. Why is this? Well, when that 10% gets it right, they'll obviously go out and talk to everyone about how, oh my god, I got this right. And the 90% of people will go, oh my goodness, they did. What if I get it right next time? And so they start making theory videos and discussions and talking about the show and expanding and creating a lot of noise in the community. This creates a lot of back and forth and discussions and just generally positive feedback from everyone. This makes a very inviting and happy community, which then encourages people to stay around and get more and more excited for the show. So a good plot twist can really, really, really help the show. 2 good examples of this are the Silver Eyes and Oz's reincarnation. So the Silver Eyes were first mentioned in Volume 1. They were at the very beginning. Oz walks in, says you have silver eyes, and that should have led us to believe there was something coming there. But it was 3 volumes later that we actually found out what was going to happen. They called this back all the way from there, but we could have guessed in that time what was going to happen. Clearly, the eyes were important. They called it out, but then they let us just kind of sit and mellow on it for a while. This was a really cool idea. By not immediately addressing it and just letting us wait in anticipation, it allowed us to discuss and talk, and then when it finally did come out, we can all go, oh my goodness, I could have seen that. Why didn't I see what was going to happen? It's fantastic. And Oz's reincarnation, well, they gave us hints of this again in Volume 1. When Oz is talking to the Beacon acceptance students at the beginning, Yang mentions how he almost seemed like he wasn't there. Clearly, this was Oz talking through Ozpin. And so it made him seem very strange and lucid. But we don't really know what to mean with that until Volume 4, when we find out, oh yes, Oz reincarnates into different people, and now he's an Oscar. But we can look back and go, so that was what was happening back there. We could have guessed there was something going on, although very few people would have guessed correctly. It's great. It creates lots of community talking points and lots of discussion. But doing the opposite or some creative or thing that no one could get isn't always the right answer, and they do this too. We can all think of the Hound in Volume 8. And when the Volume 8 first started, we all kind of came to this idea, oh, what if there's a person inside the Grimm? And we're like, yeah, maybe, but Rooster Teeth usually does crazy things. I doubt that they're going to do this. It was so obvious that none of us really thought it was going to happen. And some more people even thought, well, what if it's the Silver Eyes in there? That was literally predicted beforehand. But it was so typical that none of us thought it was going to happen. But it was also the coolest option. So Rooster Teeth didn't feel the need to go find another one because this idea is super cool already. Why on earth would you choose something else? And being able to choose the coolest option without having to go, no, the audience are going to expect that, we should go choose something else, really shows that they care more about a good story than trying to create tons of discussion in the community. They want a good show to make discussion, not just to make discussion for the point of discussing. It's a really well-written part, and I love their callbacks. I love the plot twists. I love this stuff about RWBY because it is so interesting and creates so much discussion in the community. It really is amazing. All right, on to our second point, evolving characters. Now, this is about how the characters in RWBY don't stay the same stereotypes that they were when they first appeared. They grow and age and mature with us. This really shows a trend of, well, growth, as in normal progression in things. And it's really nice. And I say this only because I've seen animes which don't do this. I mean, look at One Piece for an example. Luffy is the same as he was 20 years ago when they started making it as he is now. Although I have not kept up all the way on One Piece. I'm only like somewhere to the 500s. That's a whole task unto itself. But I like this very much growth. And specifically growth, as I see RWBY as very much a newly adult show, where the characters in it are just stepping into the world of adulthood and learning and progressing and aging and gaining experience as they grow. And I think this really suits well with how they evolve. For example, Weiss. Weiss goes from being the standard, typical tsundere character that would be typical in an anime, where she's cold and not open and very aggressive right from the get-go, to soften and slowly accept and mellow out to become this complicated and caring character. But she's also now showed us something new. She has to learn how to deal with the more adult issues that she's being faced with. And what does this mean? Well, this means very much things like her mother's alcoholism. The fact that her mother stayed there and was apparently keeping them safe from her father. Trying to reconcile with her brother. Trying to resolve the issues with her sister. And Weiss is not quite ready to deal with them, but she's being faced with them and she's being forced to evolve and grow. And it would be really interesting to see her deal with all these issues. Another example would be John. John went from being the character relief in Volume 1, the guy who would trip on his own feet, to a very mature, leader-like quality, but still not top leadership. He's still being manipulated by people, and he's come to a deep resentment of it. He's not happy about being pulled around and told to do things, but he's also not sure what to do when he's put squarely in charge. He's great at giving decisions and making choices, but he needs assistance, and he's grown into a very fine and capable leader. I look well forward to see where he goes from here, but he also has to deal with the deep psychological scars that he has. Pyrrha's death left a massive pain in his heart, and seeing someone deal with this pain and suffering and grow from it is really inspiring, because we can all relate to losing someone and having to go over this. And if you have not, you're going to at some point. And that's the kind of point that John makes, is that he is dealing with loss and is showing us how he's dealing with it. We can all think back to losing someone in our lives and have the pain and suffering. John is that example to us, showing us how he works through it, but also that it never truly goes away. And I love this about his character evolution. And finally, we have Blake. Blake is the most interesting out of all of them, because she starts as this recluse character who's already dealt with extreme trauma in her life, but has pulled herself back in thinking it'll keep her safe. When in truth, she really needed someone like Sun and Yang to come and tell her, no, hiding will not solve your problems. You need to confront them. And you see that her friends help pull her out and really change who she is. She goes from trying to hide from the world because it hurts her, to opening up and realizing that she's going to get hurt at times, but that's no reason to stop interacting with the world. It shows a great evolution of her character, and all three of them need character analysis at some points. When I start doing character analysis, it's going to be very interesting, and they're going to be some of the top ones. But I love character evolution in RWBY because it feels so real and human. They aren't taking abstract and crazy ideas. They're very much real life situations, and they're just made into these characters' plot points. I love it so much. And the last one we're going to talk about, at least for today, is RWBY music. The RWBY music is absolutely amazing. I know it's a little bit of a cop-out to put this as one of them, but I mean, it's so amazing it deserves this spot. RWBY songs are absolutely stunning. They can go from crazy to crazy upbeat to slow and somber to sad but happy. That's what Friends is kind of. It's just a whole massive range, and it's absolutely amazing. But they also tell us a lot about the characters, which is a really cool piece. If you've ever listened to Hero, you know that it's about Ironwood and how he views himself. If you've ever listened to Red Like Roses, it's an entire conversation between Ruby and her mother. I mean, that's amazing. Like Morning Follows Night is all about how Blake sees herself and how she sees the world. And, I mean, it's just, they add so much that isn't in the show, but when you listen to them, adds more to the characters. And I don't think I've ever seen a show like that, using music to build the characters up. It's an amazing idea, and really adds another dimension to the show. Alright guys, so that's the end of our first What I Think RWBY Gets Right. I plan to do more of these, as you've seen, part 1. But until next time, I'm Neil47. You can check out my social medias down in the link below. Leave me a comment, what you think. Like, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye!